Welcome to LeonCo and welcome to your weekly video. Welcome to LeonCo and welcome to your weekly video, and on this week's video we'll be discussing that infamous stock market crash that occurred in the 1920s. Yes, it was the first big economic collapse, and that not just affected the United States but affected the whole world. And let's jump right to it. So, on October 29th, 1929, the infamous Black Tuesday. Yes, on October 29th, 1929, the stock market collapsed completely. It was the first stock market collapse, and this shaped the United States economy, and it rumbled all across the world. But let's talk about how did this happen. So, in the 1920s, it was regarded to be the roaring 20s in the United States. The economy was booming, there were lots of jobs, and there was wealth divided all over the United States. But there was one small problem with this roaring 20s, and it was the fact that later in the decade, the 1920s, it was starting to be obvious that the stock market was overinflated and there were problems in the economy. And what were some of those problems? Well, the stocks were overpriced. There was a huge amount of debt that was piling up as time went by. There were low to minimum wages, and the number of unemployment was soaring up in the skies. These four elements created a huge bubble in the stock market in the 1929s, and in October was the month it collapsed. But from August 1929, you could see that there was starting to be a declining effect in the stock market. Well, let's jump right to October of that same year. Thursday before October 1920. On October 29, 1929, the Thursday before, the stock market took a big hit. There was a dip. The stock market started to collapse, and this was a big, alarming warning sign for investors and people who had money in the stock market. Well, how did they bounce back from this? On the next day, on Friday, lots of investors decided to put lots of money into the stock market, to invest in stocks, to buy stocks, so that the market could work away and rally back up again. Even though this helped a little to the collapse, by the weekend and next to Monday, the market started to fall back again, and consequently it gave birth to what to this day we call Black Tuesday. On Black Tuesday, the stock market collapsed completely, and it became the first time not only the United States economy gave a big hit, but the world economy was hit. And this was the starting point for a huge mark in the United States history, and that is the Great Depression. Black Tuesday, October 29th, 1929, was the starting date, the birth date of the Great Depression. And why is this? Because there was lots to minimal jobs. Lots of people who lost their jobs. And in this point of time, segregation was a thing. People of color and minorities were the first ones to be affected. They were the first to lose their jobs, and they were the last to get a job. So lots of people were suffering from this downfall in the economy. They lost lots of money in the investing in the stock market, and debt was piling up. There was no jobs, there was no money going around, and the unemployment was sky high. But what came from this Great Depression and this stock market crash? Well, going 3 years in advance into 1931, 1933, the stock market started to rally up again. And though when you hit rock bottom, the only place you can go is up again, well, the stock market started to go up again. But 3 years after the stock market crash in 1932, excuse me, the stocks were only just 20% of their original value in 1929. So this was a huge hit for the United States economy. And if you've noticed, some of the facts or some of the reasons why the economy collapsed, you've come to think that they are very similar to the things that are happening right now in the US economy. So stay tuned for our video on how the coronavirus gave a big hit to the economy and how can we compare the two situations, or maybe try to figure out what would happen in the future. So if you guys like this video, stay tuned for the rest of the videos throughout this month. But we always want to keep you guys safe and stay healthy, and always remember to have that king mentality.